This look is just, I just love it. I just love it. This look is it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Journeys with Jodi. I am Jodi, and in today's video I'll be showing you all how I achieve this colorful look. I used maybe 3 or 4 different palettes. I incorporated some shimmer and the eyelashes to make it pop. So if you want to see how I achieve this look, continue watching. But before we proceed, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Comment down below if you like this video, what's your favorite thing about this look, and what more you want to see. So guys, you're going in with the P.Louise base in the shade number 2, and I'm using the chubby brush to blend the edges and to remove the excess base. Now for our first shade, I'll be using Fez from the Saharan 2 palette by Juvia's Crease, and I'm using the Morphe 330 to pack this color into my crease, a little out of my crease and a little on my lid. Now we're going into the Carnival 3 Love Tahiti palette, and I'm using the color Cocoa with a smaller brush, the Morphe 506, to apply this color. We're making sure to just pack these colors in for now. We're not necessarily blending, but packing it right on the edge and a little overlapping fez. Now we're going into the Zulu Palette, and we're using that brownish, reddish brownish shade with the same M506 brush, and again we're adding it to the edge of those previous shades. Now I'm going in with my M514 brush to blend out the edges of the shade I applied from Zulu to make sure that it is seamlessly added to the skin. Now we're going back down in reverse with the same colors, so we're going from the shade from Zulu, Cocoa and Fez, just to make sure that whatever color was lost is now replaced. Now we're going into the Carnival XL Pro palette, and we're using the M562 to apply the color Intuition into my crease. So we're doing a cut crease, and I'm going to use my P.Louise base, and I'm using the M224 brush. Let me tell y'all, this was nerve-wracking. To do a cut crease on a regular is enough. To do it on camera, it was scary. Because, you didn't want to mess up. You really didn't want to mess up. So now I'm trying to get it in a perfect cut crease, or as perfect as I can get it. It's not a full cut crease, but we're stopping very close to the edge. And I'm using my Real Techniques Expert Concealer brush to tap away the excess base and to blend it into the eyeshadow. Now I'm going back in with the color Intuition from the Carnival XL Pro palette to softly blend the base with the eyeshadow. To add to the blend, I also go into Cocoa, and I'm using this from the Carnival 3 palette. For our first green, I'll be going back into this palette and using the shade Forest. I'm using the chubby brush to pat this color in, and as you can see, I'm not going all the way to the edge of my cut crease. The next green, which is a lighter green, is Tropics, and when I'm applying this, I'm adding some onto the base and a little overlapping Forest. For my third green, I'll be using Key Lime, and this is a very fluorescent green. I really like this color, so I know I had to use it. So again, we're tapping some onto Tropics and some onto the base. Now for our yellow, we're going into the Zulu Palette. I love, love, love to see this yellow, and I just had to use it. So as you can see, we did not go all the way up to the edge of our base, as we want to have a little splice for our glitter. Now we're going over all of these shades, the greens and yellow, with Tahiti green, which is a shimmery green. And I'm just using this as a topper over all the colors, and it also helps to blend them as well. To make sure that all of the colors below won't last, I go back in quickly, just tapping on some of these colors to make sure that they pop as much as possible. Now we're going in with this gold glitter. I can't remember exactly, but I believe I sprayed the brush just so that the glitter can stay on a little, but I did not want too much to stay on. Hence the reason why I didn't use any glue. And this was the same for this silver glitter that I'm adding in the space that we left open. So we're using a small brush, and I just picked up some of this glitter and tapping it within that area. Now I'm using my M210 brush, and I'm going back into each of the greens and the yellow to redefine the cut crease. And I'm also going in with the shade Intuition to darken the edge of the overall cut crease. Now I popped on my lashes off camera, and I'm wiping away the glitter now. I did moisturize my face before starting, but seeing that I wiped it off, I'm going to re-moisturize, and I'm using the Neutrogena Hydra Boost Water Gel to do so. Now I'm going in with my Milk of Magnesia, and I'm just using a flat foundation brush to apply this onto my face. You want to apply this in all the areas where you mostly get oily. So your T-zone, your forehead, under your eye, your nose, and I also applied some to my chin and upper lip. Then I go in with my Sasha Fix-It spray before I add my foundation. For my foundation, I am using my Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless and Super Stay mixed together, and I'm using the shades 340 and 355 to get as close as possible to my shade. I'm using my Real Techniques Insta Pop Face Brush to blend this foundation in. Now you have to really take your time and tap this foundation in, especially because we're using Milk of Magnesia and you don't want it to show through your foundation. For concealer, I'll be using my Juvia's Place Concealer in the shades number 8 and 10. 10 being the lighter one. So that's what I'm applying now. And I apply this under my eye, my nose, above my lip, my chin, and my forehead. Then I like to go in with the shade number 8, which is a darker one, for around the edges of my concealer, so that the blend into my foundation is a lot more seamless. To blend my concealer, I use the Real Techniques setting brush, and I don't like to move it too far away from where I placed it, so we're just tapping it in to the same areas that we applied the concealer. Now I like to go back in with my foundation brush, not adding any more foundation, but just using whatever was left on the brush to blend the edges of the concealer into the foundation. So we're going everywhere where I apply foundation, and around the edges we're just blending it with the foundation brush. Then I go over it again with my Real Technique sponge, and I'm just using this, tapping it in to set it in again, and also to remove any excess product. Now to set, I use the Sacha Buttercup setting powder mixed with the Benlight translucent powder in the shade Sienna. So I mix these two and I lightly press it in to every area that had concealer. I am not baking, so I don't use too much, a very light layer. Now I'm going back in with the Real Technique sponge just to make sure that everything is in and set in place. Now to contour, I'll be using the Black Radiance True Complexion Contour Palette, medium to dark. And I'm using a Morphe Blender Fluff Brush to apply the contour shade. And I'll be applying this below my cheek, so from my ear to my smile line, my forehead, my temple area, and along the sides of my nose. So when I'm using this brush, I'm going in small circular motions to make sure that it is blended. On my forehead, I'm not going too low, but if you happen to go too low, or if you happen to go too dark in any area, you will see how I combat this in a few. So now I go in with the Sculpt shade, and I'm going along the edges of all the areas that I applied the contour shade. So you're going right above the area where I applied the contour for my cheek, and I'm going right below where I applied the contour for my forehead. For my nose, I'm just going in the middle. Now, as I said before, to combat any darkness, or if I went too high or too low, I use my foundation brush, not applying any more foundation, but I'm just using my foundation brush and going over these areas. Not only does it reduce how harsh the contour is, but it also blends it in with the foundation and concealer. Now for my blush, I'm going in with the shades Neo and Tobe from the Saharan Blush Volume 1 palette. To soften my blush, I go in again with my foundation brush just to make sure that it's not too overboard. So I do this on my cheek and on my nose. Now for my first highlight, I'm going back into the Black Radiance True Complexion Contour Palette and using the highlight shade. And with the M500 brush, I'm applying this onto my cheek, my nose, and my Cupid's bow. To set it all in, I'm using my Morphe Continuous Setting Spray. For my under eye, I'm going back in with my greens and yellow, as well as Cocoa from the Carnival 3 Love Tahiti palette. I'm using my Morphe M210 brush to apply these colors, and I'm making sure that when I apply these colors, they're aligning with how they were placed on the lid. So So now you can see when I'm adding cocoa, I'm doing this along the edge, the outer edge, making sure to blend it in. And I'm also taking it below all of the greens and the yellow. So off camera, I also went and applied a black liner to my waterline and mascara to my lower lash line. And for my final highlights, I'll be using the Maybelline Master Chrome Metallic Highlighter, and I'm using a small blender brush to apply this on my cheek, my nose, and my Cupid's bow. Now to set my eyebrows in place, I'll be using the Ardell Brow Sculpting Gel. Now for my lips, I'll be going in with the Morphe Color Pencil in the shade Studded to line my lips. But then I decided to use Trendsetter, as Studded was a more reddish, so I wanted that on the inside. So I took Trendsetter and I placed it over Studded. After applying Trendsetter around my lips, however, I did go back in with Studded on the inside of Trendsetter. Moving on the inside again, I used the shade Bite Me, and I placed this inside of Studded. And lastly, I used the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream on the inside of my lip. Then I blended it all together. So guys, this is the finished look. It's a very colorful look. Lots of greens and yellows with some browns. And I really enjoyed creating this look. Like, it brought me back to my colors, you know, my colors. I love me some colors on the eyes. As much as my eyes, you may not see them as much when you look straight on. I still love to do some colors, some cut crease, you know, get into it. So if you enjoyed this look as much as I did, don't forget to hit the thumbs up down below. Show me that you like it. Comment to me again, what is your favorite part of this look? And I mean, it's a lot different from the last one in terms of color. If you did not watch the last one, what are you doing? I'll have it here in the little eye so that you'll be able to go to it quickly, hit the link, or you can wait till the end of the video and click the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this look, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one.